I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Lindsay, and this is What Makes You Fangirl, the podcast where we deep dive into all things One Direction and unpack the moments that turned us into lifelong fangirls.
Throughout the series, we're following One Direction from their X Factor beginnings to global superstardom, unpacking albums, inside jokes, and the chaos that made history, in a nostalgic rewind for anyone who's ever loved something a little too much.
Last episode, we dove into their debut single and the Up All Night album.
And today, we'll be covering their first tours, some key fan culture moments, and the lead up into the Take Me Home era.
But before all that, we'll kick things off with our regular favorite segment called What Makes You Fangirl this week.
As a reminder for any new listeners, in each episode, we'll share something that made us fangirl recently. It could be a song, show, movie, celebrity moment, or just anything that, got us excited.
A nice little dose of joy, nostalgia, chaos, something to kick us off. So what is making you fangirl right now?
It is Mr. Nick Jonas.
Of course. Why would it not be
releasing a new song soon. It's not out yet, but by
the time this airs, it will be out.
It will be, yeah. It will be out by the time this airs. But at this current moment, it's not out yet. His new song, Gut Punch. I literally cry every time I hear a snippet of it. It literally punches me in the gut.
No,
like, what are you talking about?
The title is correct. Gut punch is real. Like the lyrics, what are they like? Hit me like a gut punch. I hurt my own feelings. How did I get so good at being mean to myself? It's like so like literally for anyone, like literally everyone with any sort of like insecurity or even just like anxiety, like it will hit you in the gut.
Yeah.
Like
great. Yeah. Literally gut punch.
So excited. It sounds so good. I think he has performed it in full live a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've listened to a full version yet because it's
I haven't. I'm waiting for
But the snippet of the recording is so good.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Hit me like a gut punch. I hurt my feelings. How did I get so good at being mean to myself? What's the part after that? It's like, I should turn the heat down. Tell myself to chill out. Man, I really hate the way I talk to myself. I should be Nick Jonas. That was really good.
It sounded just like him.
But anyway, I agree with you. That is so good, and I'm really excited for the song. And for because it's from his next like solo project, which is called Sunday Brunch? Sunday Best?
Yes.
Sunday Best. Is that what it's called?
Something Sunday.
Something like that. We'll see. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good one for this week because that's going to be very emotional. I also feel like it's very like Nick Jonas because I feel like he's very critical of himself.
Oh, for sure. Definitely hits home. I feel it very deeply.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
What are you going with?
What I'm going with this week is it was recently announced, although, well, I'll talk about that in a second, but it was recently announced that Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson would be returning for the new Hunger Games movie, which, spoiler alert for the book, I guess, Sunrise on the Reaping. Like, it's not that surprising because it's just like a matter of if they were actually going to agree to do it because they are in the book in like the epilogue. So people were really hoping that they would sign on to do like a quick little ending of the movie, which I'm sure it'll be like literally 2 minutes, but it's going to be great.
So exciting.
It's going to be so good. Like seeing them as Katniss and Peeta again.
Oh my God. Literally so exciting. But I wonder if they'll like add a little bit of something like because it's a movie.
It's hard to tell. But also like the movie is so long already that I feel like they can't dedicate that much time to like an epilogue, but it's going to be so good to see them on screen as Katniss and Peeta again.
Yes.
But I will say part of me, again, like it's in the book, so I feel like it is kind of expected a little bit. However, I wish they had like tried to keep it more like on the DL, like how like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield for Spider-Man, or like
a whole like shock,
Christian Chenoweth and Idina Menzel when they were in Wicked, like I feel like those were kept more under wraps, so that when people saw it in the theater, they were like, and now like we're not gonna have that same like moment because we know it's happening, but it'll still be really good. I'm really excited. I need it to be next November already because I'm very excited for this movie. The trailer, like I watched it, I think 15 times in a row when it dropped.
Oh yeah. So excited.
I can't wait. And the book's really good too, so everyone should read it. Great book, great series. Love the Hunger Games. Thank you, Suzanne Collins, for your service. So that was what made us fangirl this week, but let's deep dive back into One Direction. So
Yes.
at this point in our series, their debut album is out. So what happens next? Obviously, tour.
Their first headlining tour kicked off on December 18th, 2011 in Watford, England.
These shows were at smaller venues since it was their first tour ever. There was unmatched crowd energy since this was really like the first time people got to see them in person. I know they did like the X Factor live shows, which some people got to see. I believe they also did a mini like X Factor tour after that. But this was really the first like One Direction solo tour, their own music. Like, this was the first time people could really experience that in person. So, unmatched energy, I'm sure. Not that I was there, unfortunately.
Just watching it from home.
It represented a significant shift for the boys from local TV performances to full sets night after night. So, big change for them, getting used to that tour life.
The set list, it included a good chunk of their songs from Up All Night, as well as they did covers, which were fan favorites since each boy had a spotlight moment to sing their own cover. Zayn did I Got a Feeling, Niall did Stereo Hearts.
Oh, so good.
So good. Also, Louis doing Valerie.
That's iconic.
Iconic. And then Liam and Harry did Torn.
Yes. Which then
And
turned
Full
into
Band.
all of them performing, but started with those two, which I feel like is fair since we talked about like their distribution of songs. Like it's nice
Yes.
that Zayn and Niall and Louis got like true
Yes.
spotlight solo moments, and then Liam and Harry like started with Torn, and then they all joined in to reminisce on their origin story.
Yes.
Other important parts of the show that fans loved on this tour specifically were the seasonal themes. So there was kind of like different seasons as they like transferred through the show, and it's where they did little outfit changes to match said theme. They had like little winter season, more like beachy season, where they had like, you know, little like fire, if you will, fake fire, campfire moment. And then they also, another standout moment was when they answered fan questions. They had this little couch that they would sit on, and then they'd read questions from, I believe it was Twitter that people submitted questions on, and then they would answer them live on stage. So always a good moment, always very fun and unscripted, because as we know at this time, lots of their life probably was scripted. And so the fact that that was a little bit less scripted was nice.
Yeah. That tour was also the only tour that they did like outfit changes and like had like a big production almost like that.
Yeah.
The rest of the tours were a lot more chaotic, but like in a good way. Like it was fun. And it was more them. Whereas this tour was like
this one was more choreographed. I mean, technically they had movement choreography through like all of their tours on where they should like be on stage. But this one had the most like true choreography. And when I say true choreography, I do not mean dancing. Do not get me wrong.
No,
they were not dancers, but
they did the stand-up
they had
dance.
more like moments of like fist pumping in synchronicity or whatever the word is.
This tour in the UK ran through January of 2012, which a major milestone alert. They won their first Brit Award in February 2012 for British Single of the Year, which What Makes You Beautiful was the song that they won for.
And also in February 2012, following the Brits and those things, they came to the US for the first time to promote their album because, as we mentioned in our previous episode, their album actually came out in the US in March 2012. It didn't come out at the same time as it did in the UK.
It didn't.
So they came to the US for the first time ever to do some promo, as well as, you take it away, what did they do next?
They opened for Big Time Rush, which interesting choice.
Yeah.
I think they could have
I feel like
here
at the time it kind of made sense, but also
I think like
it never really made sense.
I think, you know, whoever was in charge was like, oh, they're like a British boy band. They're not going to do as well in the US. Let's have them be, you know, a supporting act for Big Time Rush.
Another boy band who like would have a similar fan base. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking that this would help One Direction. However, I think
it helped Big Time Rush.
Yeah. I think Big Time Rush sales went up.
Yeah.
Specifically
like
because
said,
of One Direction.
Like they didn't expect Like, they were doing really well in the UK, and yes, like, they obviously had buzz globally because of their social presence and everything, but you can't ever really predict how
Yeah.
America is going to react, and despite the fact that America sucks in a lot of things, we're pretty
Oh, yeah.
important to the music industry, and
Yes.
you kinda have to, like, actually make it in America to actually become a global artist, so
And
people always get
and this
nervous
was
about
yeah.
that.
And this was before the album came
Mhm.
out here.
Yeah,
So,
and
like,
it
the
was
album wasn't even out
before.
here.
And like we said in previous episodes, boy bands had not been able to gain traction in this like
Mhm.
recent year. So everyone was nervous and they were like, let's latch them on to Big Time Rush because
Yeah.
that's a boy band that's doing, relatively well. They had a TV show, so they were kind of like on the come up. So yeah, they joined for not the full tour, but some of the Big Time Rush dates. Which
Yeah.
I'm still mad about because I did go to that Big Time Rush tour, but I just missed One Direction. Like they joined the tour like right after my date or something, which was really
Yeah.
upsetting personally because at this
Sad,
time
very
I
sad.
was a fan. So it would have been
Yeah.
the first time I saw them live, but it's fine. I'm not
Yeah.
bitter about it.
Yeah.
Which another major milestone alert for all of you listening on April 7th, 2012, One Direction made their SNL debut, which is
Mm.
really important actually
Yeah.
because this gave them a live national exposure in the US. It
Mhm.
boosted their legitimacy as artists because SNL only invites like the best of the best, and it built momentum for their upcoming tour because they
Yep.
were about to tour North America. So
Mhm.
this was a big deal because even like, so many generations watch SNL because it's one thing for like the tweens on the internet to be like, oh my God, One Direction, love. But like the adults might not have any idea who they are. But
Yeah.
SNL reached a lot of people and still does. So that was really significant for them. They continued
Yeah.
on their Up All Night tour after that. They hit Australia and New Zealand first before coming back to North America in summer of 2012. Their North American leg began in May and ran through early July. They played a mix of small capacity theaters and amphitheaters, but also some arenas. So
Mhm.
starting to kind of build up in spaces. And then I think, unfortunately for both you and I, we both missed this tour.
Yep. We did. My mother
They
said,
didn't come to
"Yeah."
Colorado, which is where I lived at the time, and I was only 13, so it was not yet traveling for concerts. Soon. I
Yeah.
think by age 15 I was, but it was not quite yet.
I live relatively close to LA, so, like, I don't have to ever really travel for shows if I don't want to, but my mother did say, "Absolutely not." She was like,
Boo.
"We're not paying for that."
Boo to Kelsey's mother.
I know, and I've had conversations with her in which she deeply regrets not letting me go to that,
As
as
she
well as,
should.
like, I wanted to see them with Big Time Rush, but I don't even know, like, if they had I don't even know what the dates look like and, like, where
Yeah.
they played with Big Time Rush, but, yeah, my mother ruined my dreams of seeing One Direction on their first tour, but what can we do
Tragic.
about it?
Hopefully she made up for it later by
She did, she
supporting
did,
your
she did,
choices.
yeah, she did later take me to some One Direction
Good.
concert, so that's fine.
Good.
Other honorable tour mentions from this era included their like iconic lyric changes. Some of
So
them
true.
include from like Gotta Be You, they did Wrong Size Shoe, Big Brown Poo,
Big
It's Kung
brown
Fu,
poo.
Chicken Soup,
Chicken
Scooby
soup.
Doo. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably more, but those are
Oh,
the most
definitely.
common ones. For Save You Tonight, they did You Should Open Your
You
Eyes,
should
Take Off
open
Your
your eyes,
Clothes.
take off your clothes.
And then they did If You're Hungry, Then Eat
If
Some
you're hungry,
Cheerios.
then eat some Cheerios.
There we go. Yes. I've been trying for years to grow a beard.
Mm-hmm. He
And then
finally
it's a
has
little,
done it. He
yeah,
can now.
yeah. But
It's a
yeah,
little
those a
too
little
hot,
too
take
little.
off
Take
your
off your
clothes.
clothes. Yep. There we go. That's the last one for that one. And then we did this a little bit in the last episode. They did change it to different every night.
Instead of different date every night.
Yeah. Which
A little scandalous. A little
a
scandalous.
little bit scandalous. That is, I've seen that song now. Don't sing
Yeah,
it
me
the other
too.
way.
Me too.
It has to be, but
It's just
you
like
know,
the way it is. Sorry.
yeah.
There were more, but those
Oh
were
yeah,
some of the most
there was
iconic
tons more.
ones.
Yeah. This really gave the vibe of One Direction. They
Yeah.
weren't super serious, and they
Like,
carried that through the rest of their tours.
as we know, they were not as polished as previous boy bands, and that was intentional because they were meant to be more like relatable and boy next
Yep.
door and fun. So this was just an element of them carrying away with that idea.
Yep.
But it definitely made fans love them. You can look up incredible TikTok edits of just like compilations of them changing the lyrics. Maybe I'll do that later.
You have
That'll be
to
good.
search up on YouTube One Direction funny moments.
Yep, of
It's a rite
course.
of
Rite of
passage. You have to do it.
Anyway, after the tour concluded in August 2012, they played the Summer Olympics closing ceremony that year, which is a global stage beyond anything of like a usual pop tour circuit. Super insane milestone for having only been together than less than 2 years. Like, if you think about how many people watch that
Mhm.
globally, insane.
Yep.
Insane. And they only
Yep.
had one album out at the time. So, incredible milestone for them, but also for little me because
Yep.
this was actually the first time I saw them live, which is crazy to say because I'm very lucky that my family took a trip to England for the Olympics, like to go watch some of the events. So we had tickets for the closing ceremony, and I
So
was
exciting.
so excited to see them. Like, I wore a One Direction shirt. I had bracelets, like friendship bracelets before they were brought back by Taylor Swift. Like, I had friendship bracelets with their names on it. I wore like the little dog tag necklace that they had.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
decked out in One Direction merch, which, if you think about it and reflecting on this, was insane of me. This like event was 4 to 5 hours long, and they sang for less than 2 minutes. They were a very, very small part of this event, and
And they were
I
like moving away as it was
yeah, they were like
happening.
on a truck moving. They were not like, it was not a main event moment, and I was so excited. I was treating this like it was my own personal like Grammy Awards moment for
And it
them.
was. And it
And it
was.
was for me because it was the first time I saw them live. I remember, and they were still like, obviously they were relatively well known at this point, but they weren't
Yeah.
like as global as they eventually got to be. And so
Yeah.
people still didn't know who they were. Like some people, you know, especially like older demographics, etc. And I screamed so loud when they came out. I remember vividly the two women in front of me turned around, and I mean, they weren't talking to me because I was screaming. I was inconsolable at this moment. But they asked my mom who they were. They were like, "Who is this?" And I was like losing it. I was losing it. It was insane. It was so good. I have a video. Maybe we'll insert a clip. Time will tell. But it's not a good video, so maybe we won't insert it because I was shaking so hard.
So bad.
And I also like barely got the performance. I only got like a few like seconds of them being like, "Nah, nah," or whatever.
Nah, nah, nah,
So-
nah, nah.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit of that, and I was like shaking really aggressively, but it was a good time for me. Also, like, fun fact, during this era and this trip, it was like peak, like prepubescent, like One Direction
Yeah.
fandom, like really embarrassing stuff. So I also, well, one, I got to see Danielle Peaser, who was Liam's girlfriend at the time,
Love.
because she was a dancer, and they had like little dancers at the beach volleyball events. So I saw her, and instead of watching like the sport, I was like taking photos of her because that's what I was doing. Who knows why? And then also, like, unbeknownst to me at this age, 12, 13, however I was, I did not realize that, in the words of Harry Styles, London is
London's-
quite big.
Quite big.
London's quite
London's
big.
quite big. I wore things specifically that I thought could tie into One Direction in case I ran into one of them anywhere.
Like subtle.
Like, I kid you not, I wore a cat sweater because Harry liked cats. Like, this is the reasoning that was going through my mind. I was insane. I also forced my family to eat at Nando's like 10 times because Niall said it was his favorite restaurant.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's good. So he was right about that. Even though, like, now, like, looking at it now, it's literally like, it's like they're fast. It's like Chipotle. It's like, it's not
Yeah.
anything crazy. It's like a chain restaurant.
Yeah,
that
it's
has
not
chicken.
like something
Like,
super
it's
fancy.
not-
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. It's nothing crazy. And I was like, oh my God, we have to eat at Nando's. And we ate
I
there.
will say
many times.
that when we finally do venture out of the group chat that's just me and you and go there, we will be having Nando's.
Oh, yeah.
I have to experience it.
Yeah, the fact that you've never had it is actually crazy.
I know.
They do have some in the US, so someday you could get to one, maybe.
Not here though.
No, yeah. They're in like, there's one in DC, there's one in Chicago.
I think I saw that there was one that just opened in Texas.
Oh?
I think it was Texas. It was
See?
like a random.
Okay, Here's a
random.
question though. Why don't they have them in New York or LA? Like, come
Right?
on.
You'd think that they would.
You'd
Those are,
think,
like, the most popular cities in the
like,
United
even
States.
though it's almost like a cringy chain, like Times Square has like Olive Garden and Margaritaville, it would fit in really well in the
Perfectly.
Times Square.
Yeah.
Not that I want to go to Times Square, but I would for Nando's. I
Yeah.
would. I will say, back in the day, I mean, I ate chicken when I was younger, so it popped off.
Yeah.
It's probably less exciting for me nowadays because I
Yeah.
don't eat meat and I'm vegan, so I also can't have like their mac and cheese and stuff. But they do have a couple vegan options. When I went in, what year was that? When I went last year to London, they had a really good like falafel like wrap pita thing that I
Mhm.
really enjoyed. But then when I went this year, they removed that from the menu and I was very displeased because they still have a couple vegan options, but they were not as good and I was
Is
kind of
good.
disappointed.
That's
But I will
disappointing.
say their fries, well, their chips, should I say? That's what they call them. Their chips and their like peri salted chips with the sauces they have, very good.
Really
So
good.
I would go just for the fries. But you eat
Yeah, I need
chicken,
to
so
experience.
you
Yeah.
can enjoy the chicken. It's
Yeah.
good. Now that we've been talking about Nando's for like 5 minutes, we can move on. So next we're going to talk about some fan moments and significant cultural, I don't even know how to describe them, just movements on
Mhm.
social media.
The hashtag LetNiallSing movement originated during the Apple Night era. Early on, fans began noticing that Niall had significantly fewer solos compared to Harry, Liam, and Zayn. His parts were often short, quiet, and blended into harmonies. We were all up on that.
We were all like, what's up with that?
Why? Hello?
During the Up All Night tour that we were just discussing, that is when they were recording their second album, Take Me Home. And there were rumors at the time that Niall's role was going to be even more like diminished, that he was just going to like contribute to harmonies and then start playing guitar. So like, I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know where this came from. I don't know if he said
Yeah.
something that alluded to it. I don't know if people just made it up, but apparently he was just going to be their guitarist from now on.
And that's it.
And that did not sit well with people. While we liked
Mhm.
that he played guitar, we want to hear his voice. We want to hear him sing.
Mhm.
And then like further proof points were during the Up All Night tour, as we said, they sang the song like Torn. But when they did Torn, Niall didn't actually sing. He just played guitar. As an adult and looking at this, I can understand why. It's because of the whole mic situation. But like, let's chill. Anyway, that was proof. And then all of these little like things were just unintentionally reinforcing that he was being sidelined, and thus the movement was born to Let Niall Sing.
Yeah, and the tipping point came during a live performance where Niall's mic appeared to be cut out during his solos. Fans interpreted this as more proof that Niall was being intentionally silenced.
Was he silent or was he
Was he
silenced?
silenced? And accusations that management didn't see him as a strong enough vocalist as evidence of management favoring certain members, which I don't
Which
fully
they might
disagree
have
with.
done,
Yeah.
but I just don't think it was as intense as we made it out to
Yes.
be. They
Yeah,
weren't
absolutely.
intentionally silencing him. They
No.
were playing to everyone's strengths at the time.
Yes.
But the hashtag Let Niall Sing quickly spread on Twitter and Tumblr. Fans strongly defended his vocal ability and musicality. Fans organized hashtags, petitions, like they made edits to showcase how good his voice was. So people were really, really popping off on this. And also, let's note that like the same enthusiasm was not shown for Louis, even though he was in a similar boat. Like
Yeah.
he had some, but it was not as intense.
Yeah. When Take Me Home was released, his solo time, it was not significantly increased. Fans took to mean that they were right and management was silencing him. There's a particular performance of Little Things where Niall's mic cuts out during his solo and clips recorded by fans. It does look like he was a little emotion. A little sad, a little crying. And people said his mic was intentionally turned off and that he was so upset that he cried about it.
Which he eventually, so years passed, people are
Yeah.
passionate about this movement for a very long time. As we
Mhm.
know, they got more creative control later on. He did start to sing more,
Yes.
yada yada. But this movement just, it remained. It would pop up at moments where people felt he was being treated more unfairly. Continues on. Even to this day, I feel like, despite the fact that he's a solo artist. Just kidding. I feel like it mostly stopped when he became a solo artist. But Niall himself eventually confirmed that this was not true. And so, well after One Direction is over.
Over,
Or
yeah.
quote, on hiatus, let's say. Niall, he posted on Instagram thanking his team, and he included Modest Management in that thank you. And everyone was like, why would he thank them? They were the ones who intentionally silenced him. And he responded confused. He had to have known this was
What?
going on, but he was
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Why would I not thank them? And so he debunked this theory that there was ever like a campaign against him to be singing less. He said on Twitter, and I quote, ever heard of a technical issue?
Because I think it was like people were sending him clips of himself.
Yeah. And he
They were
was
like, you were crying here, right here. Your mic was
And
cut
he
off
was like,
intentionally and you were crying.
no. So therefore, Niall claims that any instances of this happening were all technical or user error, not a direct like plot from management. And also, I think it's important to note that a lot of these clips where this is happening, he's wearing the headset mic, which he was the only one who wore that because he was the only one who played an instrument. And I feel like those mics are much more prone to issues than the standard handheld ones.
Yep. Despite this very clear clarification that he made, the hashtag, it did not fully die. Like, at all. It would resurface later whenever fans felt like Niall's vocals were minimized. It was like brought up immediately. The moment became one of the earliest examples of directioners mobilizing online.
Yes, it did. And it also set a sort of pattern for this fandom where we would hyper-analyze everything. Also, the whole distribution discourse of how they sang was always looked at, every single album. And also just like a nice little precedent of fans feeling protective over all the members, but particularly the ones that they perceived as overlooked, which was often Niall and Louis. But yeah, like I said earlier, I do find it interesting that Louis didn't have a similar campaign. Like he had, like people did want him to sing more, but it was not like a full movement. There was no hashtag let Louis sing.
Yeah. And, or even if there was, it wasn't as like...
It just wasn't
prominent.
As strong.
Yeah.
As prominent.
And maybe is because like there was no emotional videos. That
there
looked
was
like
no
he was
videos
crying.
of Louis crying. Louis was the oldest, and Niall was viewed. Which, yeah, that could be
he
part
was
of
the
it.
baby,
Niall was viewed as like
wasn't.
the baby. Yeah, so
'Cause
everyone was very
sweet,
protective
innocent.
over him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we still are. Let Niall sing.
Let Niall sing. You know, funny. This is really funny. At my big girl job in my big girl office in a big girl corporation, I do have a picture, like my meet and greet photo with him. I have a meet and greet photo with him in my cubicle at work, but it also has a sticky note.
I should put mine up at my desk. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's just a thought.
Yeah, absolutely, you should. But there's a sticky note underneath it that says hashtag let sing.
Listen, it's relevant. It's relevant.
It really
still
is.
to this day.
Let him sing. Let him sing.
Let him sing. Let him release his 4th album. Let him sing. I would like to hear it.
Yes.
Anyway, so that was Let Niall Sing. That one's a little bit sillier. The ones we'll get into next are a little bit more intense. And also, let's also get this out of the way and say never proven or having legitimate like evidence to the next two.
Yeah.
Because we're going to dive into the controversy that was Crystabel Riley and then Mr. X.
Mr. X.
Good times. Good times.
Oh, yeah. The incident of Crystabel Riley surfaced in September of 2012 during peak early One Direction chaos. This was post Up All Night era. They were like heavily touring. There was massive fan presence outside hotels, and they also had a very extremely controlled public image. This was a time when fans would track hotel locations. Social media made leaks spread instantly. The band's clean image was still heavily protected.
Yeah, so you can imagine the chaos then when an anonymous audio recording appeared online with a clip that contained a female voice, a male voice, which was widely believed to be Zayn Malik, but again, never really confirmed. There's also a second male voice more in the background that's faintly audible, and that one is believed to be Harry Styles. In the recording, Zayn gives instruction. Zayn, quote, let me add quotes around his name. Gives instructions. Allegedly, Zayn gives instructions to the girl on how to get past hotel staff. He tells her to say her name is Crystabel Riley, There was an implication at the time, I don't even know if it was ever really confirmed, but that this name belonged to someone on their staff, so they would have access. So already a little sus.
In the recording for this phone call, Zayn, allegedly,
Allegedly.
repeatedly urges the girl to, like, hurry, like, come quickly, and not to draw any attention because they had fans
Mhm.
outside.
And this really fueled a lot of ethical concerns, a lot of tabloid speculation, which, note, at the time, Zayn was dating Little Mix's Perry Edwards, and there was
Uh,
always some sort of speculation that he was like cheating on her, being unfaithful, etc. As we know, and this is a topic for another time perhaps, because we could spend many, many hours dissecting the
yes.
ethics of media, but oftentimes media can be, the best way to say it is, racist, and
Yeah.
they were constantly trying to paint Zayn as a villain, so this obviously did not help. And there was also endless like Tumblr, Twitter, internet discourse when this dropped.
Yeah. The fandom response, however, was intense and very immediate. There was shock. There was moral panic. There was defensiveness. Oh, they would never do this. They're sweet, perfect angel boys. They would never
Mhm.
do this. And there was also excitement that they were willing to hook up with some fans.
You know what? Like, everyone
Yeah,
wants to have their little Your Name fantasy, and
exactly.
if this was
Ex-
real, like, it
they
could
were
happen for you
willing.
too.
They were willing. Then there was a chance, But fans, like, split on this situation. There were those who believed the audio was 100% real, and then there was those who thought it was 100% edited and fake.
Mhm. Which one did you fall in?
I think I wanted to believe it was fake. I was kind of like,
I think I wanted to believe it was fake, but even not even
not
we
even,
weren't in
yeah,
a time when AI was really that good.
yeah,
So I'm not like, it could have been real. I'm not convinced it was them. Like, it
yeah,
could have been anyone, like,
yeah,
trying to frame them, or just any
yeah,
random man, or I don't know. I don't know how I
yeah.
feel. I feel like I was in the denial side though. I wasn't like, "Oh
Oh,
my god,
yeah,
they are sleeping with people," you know.
yeah. Nor did I wasn't part of the, like, I want to sleep with them
Yeah, me either. I think
crowd.
what
I
this
was
was
very much,
2012.
yeah.
I was
Yeah, I
what,
was 14.
13?
Yeah,
14
13,
maybe?
14, yeah.
So I was not really, I mean, even presently, not to get too much
Yeah,
into sexuality, but I don't want that now either, and I'm much
yeah.
older. But major reactions included master posts of people dissecting the audio, like line by line
Mhm,
analysis, people attempting to identify who the like girl or girls were in this like vehicle that was like driving to meet them or
mhm.
whatever. There were a lot of theories. People were saying, oh, this proves that they're really reckless, or there was the side that was like, this is fake and they're being sabotaged. Lots of discourse on this particular topic, which also we're not going to play the audio because we don't know if it's real and
Yeah,
we don't want to
yeah,
get into that. That's why we're just gonna
yeah,
summarize it
yeah.
for you.
This is why, importantly, very important, there is no official confirmation or denial that was ever said. They never acknowledged it at all.
Yeah. Which might have been part of the problem
Yeah, the
because
silence allowed speculation to
but
continue to
also
spiral. Yeah,
I get it. Sometimes you just gotta
yeah,
let things lie and
yeah.
let it go.
But also
But
with
yeah,
this fandom, I don't think anything ever truly dies.
so true. But yeah, there was nothing official to like confirm this ever.
Yeah.
Years later, like still no reputable news outlets have confirmed that any of this was real. There have been a few people that have come forward on social media saying, like, someone said she was
It
the
was
person
them, yeah.
involved in it, and that she like spoke publicly about it after her alleged involvement. But then another person posted on TikTok and said that she was Crystabel Riley and
Mhm.
explained like her version of events. So it's really like unclear because people are
Yeah.
liars.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say. Like, this is one that was like never truly 100% debunked. Like, could it
Yeah.
be real? Sure. Like, I'm not, they were what, 18, 19 at the time? Like, I'm sure they
Yeah.
were sleeping with people. They were newly
I
famous. Like, it could be real, but also it could not be.
yeah.
If you want to know more about it, if you want to hear the audio, you can find it still. You can look it
Yeah.
up. But
You can look it up.
we're not going to play it for you. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the summary of the Christabel Riley thing.
It remains one of the most infamous, uncomfortable, and enduring moments of the early One Direction fandom history.
So true. And the next one, Similarly, also never confirmed and also kind of scary and weird in a different way, Mr. X. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that.
Let's talk about Mr. X.
Alongside these other movements and scandals, Mr. X emerged in 2012. This was the era, to give some context, where fans monitored literally everything online. Anonymous accounts could gain traction pretty quickly, and Twitter rumors spread at lightning speed.
So, who was this? Mr. X was an anonymous Twitter account. The account claimed to have insider knowledge about One Direction and access to future events before they happened. The username and anonymity immediately created intrigue. Fans were already primed to believe insider accounts because leaks and early info did sometimes come from crew, venues, or like industry insiders. So it wasn't something that, you know, we're like,
It
oh, this
wasn't
could it happen?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did he do? He posted a series of predictions about One Direction. They were often really cryptic riddles, sometimes really poetic, actually.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes they did appear to come true or lined up with events that people later recognized, which, in hindsight, anyone can do that with this sort of like band on this scale to some
Yeah.
extent. You can kind of predict certain things that are
Oh,
going to
yeah, for
happen.
sure.
And even if you're wrong, the ones that you're right about are the ones that people will be like, "Oh, they were right."
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah.
But yeah, so sometimes they did line up a little bit with events. So fans were like, "Oh, wait, this might be a little bit real." Like an example is before the MSG show, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first, Mr. X cryptically posted that, quote, "one couple will part, but one will form." And after this was posted, like the news broke that Liam Payne and Danielle Peeser broke up. And then also at this time, Harry was spotted with Taylor Swift. So it was like confirmation of the new like Haler relationship.
Mhm.
So this gave the account some credibility and a growing following.
Fans began screenshotting tweets and sharing them widely, treating the account as a legitimate source. The situation escalated when Mr. X tweeted a violent prediction. One tweet specifically implied that Harry would be harmed or, trigger warning, killed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
it got serious real quick.
it, crossed a line kind of from just like gossip and insider
Yeah.
info into like actual like threat. So
Mhm.
obviously fans were panicking and reacted with fear. There were hashtags that were circulating like Harry be careful. And if you like think about it in modern day context, this has actually probably gotten worse. Like
Mhm.
people threatening violence online should really be taken seriously
Taken
because of a
seriously.
lot of
Yeah.
the events that have happened in history, unfortunately. We don't even need to mention like big attacks, but even in like the pop culture realm, there's things like Ariana Grande's concert or the
Mhm.
threat for the Taylor Swift Eras tour in Vienna. Like there are
Yeah.
a lot of things that have legitimately happened. And so it's not like insane to be scared about
To think
this, even
about it.
though it
Yeah.
kind of is like, well, like why would you ever believe that? But like it could
Believable,
happen based
especially in the
on
United States.
our history, yeah, especially
Yeah.
in the US.
The account was mass reported. I specifically remember reporting this account.
Yeah, me too.
And like it was like everyone was like, go report this account, go report this account, go report this account. So it was mass reported and it was closely watched by fans. Any move that account made was immediately screenshotted and posted.
Mhm.
And then fans did end up reporting the account to authorities
Mhm.
specifically because of the violent threats that were made.
And specifically because this threat was
Yep.
happening in the lead up to One Direction's first show at Madison Square Garden, which was set for December 3rd of 2012. To give some context, if anyone listening does not know, SG is a venue here in New York. I say here, I'm currently in New York City. That's why I said that. It's in New York City. It's a very historic place to play. It's like a career milestone when artists play there, and them doing it so early in their career was really insane, actually,
Yeah.
and a validation of their legitimacy in the US market. So the
Yeah.
fact that it was like also a really big deal of a show was like, oh my God. Then you add this layer of there being some sort of threat, and then it's like,
Mhm.
oh, this is like even scarier. So to read a snippet of one of the posts from Mr. X, there are many, and some of them are quite poetic.
Mhm.
But this one is specifically in regard to kind of that threat against Harry. So they said, "This is Mr. X. Say goodbye to your precious One Direction. The storm is coming. 4 will stay as 1 will fall, with millions of others. I have officially won. You better watch for your precious boys at Madison Square Garden. It will happen quickly. You Directioners are next. Signed, Mr. X." So a really lovely thing to read on the internet.
As a child.
So I'm actually this is one of those things where it's like, ha ha ha, silly, goofy, but this one actually is kind of scary.
Yeah,
Even if
it
it
was
wasn't real
scary.
at all, it's that's just a scary concept.
There was honestly no way to validate that it wasn't real. It was they're saying that, not to get into too much detail, but that Harry would be, harmed at this show.
Yeah.
And I remember being in full panic, oh my God, someone
And
needs
when
to do
December
something.
3rd came around, we were all online, waiting for
Waiting for the
news
show,
about
yeah.
anything.
Spoiler, nothing happened. No harm came to Harry. The panic subsided and the account lost credibility. Everyone was like, whoa, that's not real. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
However, years later in 2015, the original Mr. X Tumblr account posted a riddle that basically predicted Louis would be a dad, resparking the Mr. X chaos from years before, because he did become a dad. Louis did become a dad.
And he did. So who even knows? Who even knows what Mr. X even was? But the hype again faded. And Mr. X still kind of remains a mystery to this day, but an iconic piece of fandom lore.
Yes.
Always interesting to talk about.
Yeah. I have trauma from Mr. X. Raise your hand if Mr. X personally.
Raise your hand if you feel personally victimized by Mr. X.
Literally. But to make sure we end this episode on a more positive note, that was a little dark. A lot. Another major milestone moment during this period was when they won their first VMAs in September 2012. Yay. They won Best Pop Video and Most Share-Worthy Video for What Makes You Beautiful. One Direction won Best New Artist. And then they performed One Thing.
Incredible. Love.
I remember that vividly.
Yes, me too. So, with that being said, hopefully next time it's not as dark. We're going to dive into the Take Me Home era next time. So hopefully it's a little bit more uplifting.
Yes. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our deep dive on the Take Me Home era. And remember, life's too short not to forget about the things you love. It's totally okay to fangirl a little too much.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.